Well, elsewhere at Davos, world leaders who attended the conference this week, many cited the same feeling regarding the tech sector. Fear there. Leaders for countries such as Japan, South Africa, China, and Germany all called for global oversight of the tech sector, a clear sign of the growing interest for more supervision of the industry. Here to discuss this with us is Alex Moazed, Applico CEO and author of Modern Monopolies. Alex, what do you think about this increasing pressure on tech companies to kind of get data protection in order?
Look, I've seen this for a number of years, and to be honest, Google and Facebook and these other platform tech monopolies should be saying thank you to these legislators. The problem is that legislation is not the answer, regulation is the answer. And we use GDPR by any measure of the standard. They were trying to level the playing field in Europe and data and privacy. And what happened is Google and Facebook now have an even more commanding share of digital ad spend in Europe. There's all these rules and red tape and penalties if you get it wrong. So now everyone said, well, I'll just put my money with Google and Facebook. So what the legislators were trying to prevent, they actually helped to enable and consolidate.
And we saw Google actually fined $57 million in France for violating GDPR, which was their first violation of what was supposed to be a pretty strict data protection policy.
So I'm a little bit more of a monopoly skeptic.
Yeah, it's a fair point to raise.
And I look at this and I say, the regulation, what it ends up doing is it ends up solidifying Google and Facebook from here to eternity, because what startup is going to be able to make the leap and comply with these regulations? Facebook can, they've got the revenue, Google can, and so we end up regulating them into a position that nobody can ever kick them out of. And I don't see how that's going to help the average American who's concerned about data privacy.
The key is regulation, right, and not legislation. So working with the regulators that can assign teams that are very skilled and can understand this business model. They have this platform business model, which is very unique and new. And legislators, let's be honest, they don't even understand the internet, let alone this thing called the platform business model. So working with regulators like the FTC that can really get into the nuances of how to create regulation that, to your point, doesn't prevent startups from making the environment more competitive, but helps to actually level the playing field.
On the topic of Facebook and Google, we also saw Will.i.am discuss the problem with tech companies like those behemoths. Take a look.
The problem that we have in society is not, the Facebooks of the world and the Googles of the world. It's that there is no alternative. Right? There is no other system for me to use where I could retain my data in a way that's simple for me to understand what's going on. If there's value in data, how do we bring that down to the person?
But Alex, you're not necessarily saying that it's bad to have monopolies.
Well, these tech monopolies, the Facebook, the Googles, Amazon, Microsoft, there's actually a lot of other platform businesses as fast followers. Uber and Airbnb are going public in 2019. There's a bunch of other of these kind of marketplace content platform businesses that are on the up and up. Things like legislation will make it even harder for them to compete with the big Facebook and Googles of the world. But there is a lot of a very vibrant tech community, both in the United States and in China, that can help to make it provide more alternatives for consumers and advertisers.
Do you see that an uptick in regulation coming down the pike? Because a lot of those companies have been spending a lot of money on lobbying, because there has been this growing tech lash against a lot of these companies over these, over these privacy concerns and these antitrust concerns. So, do you, as you're looking ahead, imagine that a lot of these companies are going to be facing down the barrel of that regulation?
I think if they were smart, if the Facebook and Googles were smart, they would get out in front of this and they would start to engage in conversation with the regulators. Everything is shut down right now, so it's kind of at a standstill. But I actually think in the markets, these platforms, these tech monopoly stocks have rebounded tremendously just in the past 30 days, much more than the rest of the market. But it would do a lot to stoke investors' confidence in these companies if they were to engage in conversation and prevent legislation but work towards regulation.
Put it in the skeptic's view, I think they'll try to write the regulation, actually, which to me is the double problem, but we can talk about that some other time.
Self-policing. It always works out in the end.
That's right.
All right, Applico CEO Alex Moazed, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.